Good morning, sisters. Welcome to our very last vlog, whatever number that is, of Provident Living. Today is the last day. I just want to do a little bit of a recap. I did get a little notice from one of our sisters this last week or two about sanitation, and we have only touched on that briefly. But probably I'll just encourage you to know a little bit about it, research it, get it ready at your own home so that you're prepared. One of the biggest problems in a crisis situation is disease, and that is spread rapidly because of cleanliness, and especially because of sewage and people not knowing how to deal with it. And open sewage is really a big problem. So something to think about. I think we did touch on that pretty much, though, on one of our last vlogs, one of the previous vlogs. Today I just want to recap everything we've been over just a little bit. Well, actually more just encourage you guys to start. So if you haven't started, and I know I've heard from some people that it's overwhelming, that it seems like such a big task. Maybe it's financially overwhelming, or time-wise it's overwhelming, or space-wise it's overwhelming if you don't feel like you have the space. Now might be a good time to just think about it. Take a week. Just think about it. Walk through your home. Find places that maybe you have things you want to get rid of. Make spaces. Figure out where you can store it. It does not have to be a basement storage room. It can be a lot of other places, even a garage if you have to. But start. And if you don't have a whole bunch of money, just go out and buy it right now. That's okay. Just start. Dedicate $1 a week, $5 a week, $10 a week, whatever you can do, and get started. Start with the basics, because you can't eat ketchup and survive. But start with those basic things like flour and salt and wheat and rice and grains and fruits and vegetables. Get those started, and then add some of the fluffy stuff to it. Or start and do your 2-week everything supply. So have everything for all the foods you would eat for 2 weeks. So you could not go to the store for 2 weeks and be just fine making breakfast, lunch, and dinner for those 2 weeks, and then expand to 4 weeks. However you want to do it, sisters, I just encourage you to start. In my own life, I have seen it used. I've seen it needed and not be there. I've seen it needed in my own household, and we had it, and it was a blessing. And yes, we then had to start over, but that's okay. And I do believe firmly, unequivocally, that God loves effort. And that if you get started and you do this prayerfully and include Him, He will open doors for you that you didn't think were possible. And He will help you get prepared. But pretty soon, the resources to do so may not be there for you, even if you have $1 million to spend. And I just think that time is limited. I just sit back and watch all that's going on in such a short period of time. Inflation itself, it may not even be a big natural disaster. It may not even be a civil war. It may just be that we can't afford to go to the store. It may be shortages that no amount of money can buy you anything, because there is nothing. So just get started, and you will have peace of mind. And yes, it's a big task, but if you just take a bite at a time, you can eat a whole elephant. And also, I would encourage you, if you do decide to go the route of having a ton of food storage on hand, usually that's a lot of people buying the dehydrated stuff, or the freeze-dried stuff rather. And if you go that route, you're going to need to plan for the water storage to be able to eat that. We don't have a water source super close, so that would be a trial. And we just went out to the bird refuge, and it's spring. Keep that in mind, early spring, and I was kind of astounded at the levels of water out there. Yeah, there's still some. There's a lot of places that last couple of years have been really full, and now there's nothing but a little tiny puddle in the middle of nothing. So that's kind of a big deal too. Water is important. Who knows what it will be, but without water, if it does turn into a huge drought, possibly even a worldwide drought. I mean, who knows? God covered the world in water. He can take the water away from the whole world if he chooses to. And in that case, there would be no food, no water to grow the food. So, yeah, those are extremes. But I don't know that we won't see extremes. Maybe it will just be a personal thing in your own life. But the peace of mind that it brings, it's like having car insurance or home insurance or flood insurance or knowing that your car is running well or whatever that helps you feel better about a situation, that's what you'll have. I wanted to share with you some quotes today, and clear back even in Joseph Smith's time, there's a story, and I used to have it. I cannot find it, so I'm just going to recap it, but it was basically a pioneer, first early member of the church, and Joseph was admonishing the saints even then, from time to time, to store food supplies, because sometimes they were hard to come by. Inflation locally was a problem in Kirtland and other places, and their money was worth nothing, and coming across food was difficult. Having enough to feed your family. People were going hungry, big time. Anyway, he encouraged people to store food, and one brother said, we all know what kind of tiny little places they lived in. He just said, I have nowhere to put any food to store. And Joseph pointed to a chair and just said, you got a chair there. You got room for that. So, make your food storage your chairs if you have to, I guess is the point. But it is important. So I want to read you a few of the older quotes about food storage and remind you that just recently they have talked about it again. So let's start with Brigham Young. So Brigham Young said, the time will come the gold will hold no comparison in value to a bushel of wheat. That has not happened yet. At points, it has come close in the world and even in the pioneer times. But this was after their trip west, and it was a warning, a prophetic warning. Here's another one. President Marion G. Romney, we will see the day when we live on what we produce. Makes the importance of gardening and gardens and home canning, having those skills and that knowledge a little more important. It is important. Having a seed storage is important. And I think I've said this in a previous blog, but they store best in the freezer. They store longest and best in the freezer. Or the fridge if you don't have freezer space. President Ezra Taft Benson, the revelation to produce and store food may be as essential to our temporal welfare today as boarding the ark was to the people in the days of Noah. And he also said, the Lord has warned us of famines, but the righteous will have listened to the prophet and stored at least a year's supply of survival food. Hopefully you fall under that last category. Then the last one is Elder McConkie, Bruce R. McConkie. For the moment we live in a day of peace and prosperity, but it shall not ever be thus. Great trials lie ahead, and we must prepare ourselves temporally and spiritually. I used to read the scriptures, the Book of Mormon, even the Bible, and you read of righteous people, and in just a handful of years, decades, even less, just 5-10 years, they go from an amazing, righteous, solid safety net of people to upheaval and chaos and ruin and wickedness. And I used to scratch my head at that and go, how do you do that? But then I watch what's going on in the world in just the last couple of years and how quickly it's spread and how big it has become and the things that it has caused. And it is concerning to me. But there is peace of mind. If you didn't have enough toilet paper on hand, you're going, that seems funny. But in some ways, I kind of feel like some of these things have been little nudges from the Lord, little pushes to show us that we are not prepared, or maybe we could be more prepared. I had ample toilet paper in my basement. I didn't worry about it. If I went to the store and there wasn't toilet paper, okay. I try not to pull from my food storage. I rotate it, but I don't like it to get reduced. But there were some things that we had to pull from and use because we couldn't find them, and that's okay. We've since replaced them and built them up, but the time may come again when it's just that to rely on. So, sisters, I have heard some people jokingly say, "Oh, my neighbor has food storage," or "I'll just, go over here and get that food storage." Well, I have to tell you, people with food storage usually have guns, and if their family's hunger is at stake, do you really want to put yourself in that position? It may be a joke right now, but it may become reality for you later that you have to go door to door and ask people, "Please, do you have anything so I can feed my family?" Don't be in that position. Be the opposite. Get prepared so that you can help others. And you're not the burden on those around you, but rather a help to those around you. And honestly, people can't store enough food to supply their neighbors or extended family even. If my kids were to come home today, we would be hard pressed to last the whole year. And we have pretty decent preparation going on. So it's just a matter of increase in numbers, and they're having babies, and that's not a plan that I've had in my food storage for 25 years. So it's a long time since I've had to prepare for that. So make sure you're prepared. If you can, prepare for your kids a little bit. One of the things that we did this year, and I apologize, we are going over, but this is our last one and important, so we will go over a little today. One of the things that we deemed appropriate over the years is food storage. When my kids turned 12, we gave them an extra present when presents were good to have, and they didn't get food storage then. Well, actually, they did get 72-hour bags at one point, but it was an extra present, so nobody whined or fussed. But we gave them preparatory things. So my girls got household items for their future, and my son got tools. And when we reached a point that they had pretty much gotten all they needed there, then we started giving the single adults food storage. And once they got married, they often get food storage. As a matter of fact, my oldest daughter, when she got married, they really didn't need a lot. They were older. They had a lot of things. They requested our gift from us was food storage. So that makes me happy because they're now having children, and I know that they are maybe not a year's supply prepared, but they are well on their way. But if your kids are not in a position where that can happen, what we started doing this year is we give them a little bit of food storage every month. So I'll go buy 5 of this or 6 of that. I think I showed that to you in a previous vlog, some of the things that they were getting. And to keep track of it, I made a list, and then for fun, I just started doing it alphabetically. So we're still on the B's. We're in May, but there's a lot. And they don't get enough. We don't give them enough to last a year's supply, but it's enough to get them started just a little bit. So it's up to them to finish. And yes, some of them have the dilemma that a lot of you may have of storage room. But find every nook and cranny you can possibly find to make that happen for your sake, for your kids' sake, for your grandkids' sake. Help them out and help your neighbors out if you can. But hopefully if we all get prepared, that's not going to be a problem too much. I just want you guys to know that this is something I truly believe in. I have testimony in it. I've seen it in action. I've seen when it could have been helpful and it wasn't available. You do not want to rely on the government, and the church they just can't possibly feed the people who do not follow these warnings and these admonitions. They are not going to prepare for you. They do have things in supply, but what they have wouldn't even feed, a percentage of the Wasatch Front, let alone bigger amounts there. So preparedness is on you, and I hope that you'll take the time to do it. I was going to show you, I had a little handout that I had made for others, which I don't have with me at the moment. But it was just a little thing that you flip over, you tear off one little section of the list, And this week we're going to buy this. And then you tear off another little section for the next week and take it with you to the grocery store to remind you that, okay, this is what I need to buy for my family this week. And if you can't get a year's supply, no problem. Get a week's supply, get a 2-week supply, get a month's supply, whatever you can afford and fit in your food storage. I would suggest you do it orderly, systematically, definitely keep track. It would be sad if you have a 5-year supply of ketchup and absolutely no rice or absolutely no wheat. You know, it's definitely use some wisdom and some common sense, but get it done. However you choose to do it, that's unique. Wherever you choose to store it, that's also unique to your circumstances. And how often you can purchase this, that's also on you. Which is why we haven't delved into that a great bit, because it really is a individualized thing. Anyway, sisters, I hope this blog has been helpful. I hope that you guys have listened to it. Encourage others to listen to it. Honestly, if you can get your neighbors on board, there's safety in that, because they're not going to be in desperate situations and live next door to you and know that you have it. I just hope, we all wish that the day would never come that we would need it, but there's got to be a reason we're being told to have it. And I think that day will come sooner than we think. Hopefully not, but you never know. Best to be prepared. And on that note, I'm going to end today. Happy prepping. You guys have a great, great, great journey in that regard. And if anyone ever has questions or needs a little bit extra help, feel free to contact me. You guys, I'll take care. Bye-bye.